is out against the Lynx, and it is a pity because Paige has been very good. She's been very good this.
Again, one of the WNBA's brightest new stars is trapped in a real-life nightmare, facing danger not from an opponent, but from her very own teammate. Paige Becker, the generational talent poised to change the Dallas Wings, has been sidelined by injuries while playing alongside DJ Carrington, arguably the most unpredictable player in the league. This isn't just bad luck, it's a symptom of the WNBA's shocking failure to curb reckless play, a failure that's flat out destroying careers before they even get a chance to shine.
At this point, I don't believe Djonai Carrington is going to make it throughout the season, man. Fans is demanding for her to be banned from the league because she did 2 dirty plays in her matchup yesterday against the Seattle Storm. Yes, 2 dirty plays plus a flagrant foul. This is starting to become a habit for Djonai Carrington, and as of right now, it's looking real spooky for her.
Let's dive straight into the brutal truth of what Paige Becker is enduring right now. She was the undisputed #1 overall draft pick, arriving with stratospheric expectations, the kind of phenom who packs arenas. Yet, instead of dominating, she's caught in a relentless cycle of injuries, a pattern that chillingly aligns with her proximity to DJ Carrington's uniquely hazardous style of play.
Like, it happens once a game right now. And how Djonai Carrington did not get called for a flagrant foul like on this, she has the greatest whistle of all time because, like, look, how many times does this need to happen before, like this is going viral even on freaking...
Becker was benched for 4 crucial games in late May after suffering a concussion during a collision. And here's where the story gets infuriatingly complicated. This isn't your typical basketball bruise or a streak of bad luck. It's far more sinister. The concussion itself happened on May 29th against the Chicago Sky. And while it wasn't a direct hit from Carrington, the timing screams suspicion, especially when you consider the bizarre trail of injuries that seems to follow this particular player wherever she steps on the court.
The foul is right here. That's a hard foul, and she does get her in the face.
Did she come back and hit her in the face? My goodness, I told y'all, she's a professional UFC fighter.
When she's coming down with her hand.
I mean, this is just not a good look for Djonai Carrington. I'm telling you, she's on thin ice, bro. Look.
Initially, Beckers didn't show any immediate symptoms during the game, but the following day brought the telltale headaches and other alarming signs, forcing her into concussion protocol. That meant she missed crucial matchups against Seattle, Los Angeles, and Minnesota, games that could have been absolute game changers for the struggling Wings, who were limping along with a dismal 1-9 record.
It was listed as probable, downgraded to out. You don't always see that. Can you give us any update on how she's doing?
Just dealing with an illness and just being extremely cautious and supportive as an organization. So hope to have her back soon.
What's truly gut-wrenching is that Becker was absolutely on fire, averaging an impressive 14.7 points and 6.7 assists, just hitting her stride when this injury brought everything to a screeching halt. She had already carved out a place in history, becoming the fastest player in over a decade to rack up 40 career assists, drawing comparisons to literal WNBA legends. Now, instead of refining her professional game, she's stuck in concussion protocol, left to wonder if her next practice session is just another express ticket to the emergency room. Meanwhile, as Becker battles her way back, her teammate DJ Carrington continues to wreak havoc on both opponents and her own squad, unleashing a brand of basketball that belongs in a martial arts dojo, not on a professional court. The evidence against Carrington isn't some vague accusation, it's extensively documented, disturbingly repetitive, and somehow gets more dangerous with every game. Her latest stunt involved grabbing Los Angeles Sparks guard Sarah Ashley Barker by the hair and yanking her to the ground in what can only be described as a full-blown assault disguised as a basketball play. Even the announcers were floored, with one remarking that if Barker had hair extensions, they would have been ripped clean off. This wasn't a basketball maneuver, it was pure, unadulterated WWE-level savagery that somehow only earned her a common foul.
Up until this point, I think quite a few of Djonai's flagrants and dirty plays, or sorry, not dirty play, dangerous plays, could be explained off as her getting almost too excited, trying to get a block and just doing reckless things. Whereas this play cannot be explained off by that. This play cannot be explained off by that. And like, you've got this is the commentator. This is the commentator.
But wait, there's more to this infuriating saga. Earlier this season, Carrington uncorked a reckless flagrant foul against Jessica Shepard that narrowly missed wiping out Paige Becker herself. Just 4 minutes into the third quarter, Carrington launched herself at Shepard during a fast break, delivering a forearm blow that frankly could have ended careers. Officials did upgrade it to a flagrant one, but that flimsy slap on the wrist did absolutely nothing to fix the core problem. And who could possibly forget that absolutely disgusting eye poke? Carrington's deliberately aimed attack on rookie sensation Caitlin Clark in 2024 left the league's new face playing through a black eye for weeks. Despite crystal clear slow motion replays showing Carrington intentionally bending her hand and pointing her nails directly at Clark's face, the league's response was a resounding, terrifying silence. That deafening quiet was clearly interpreted by Carrington as a green light to keep escalating her pattern of dangerous play.
Dude, keep Djonai Carrington far away from my team, man. Keep Djonai Carrington far away from my team. There's a difference between playing hard and just playing reckless. Playing hard and playing dirty. Playing hard and playing like Djonai Carrington. There is a huge difference.
As if navigating DJ Carrington's unpredictable chaos wasn't enough, Paige Becker also has to contend with the added dysfunction of Melissa Smith, who has earned the dubious distinction of being labeled the WNBA's worst player this season. Smith, who just so happens to be Carrington's girlfriend, injects a whole new layer of toxicity into an already volatile locker room. Smith's spectacular fall from grace has been truly something to behold. Once a promising second overall pick in 2022, she's now statistically the league's biggest liability, hampered by consistently lackluster performances and a startling disinterest in anything resembling team success. This bizarre dynamic between Smith and Carrington creates an impossible tightrope walk for players like Becker, who not only has to worry about Carrington's physical attacks during games and practices, but also navigate a locker room where two players are openly prioritizing their bizarre personal relationship over basic team cohesion, or, you know, player safety. The absolute audacity of this duo was on full display when they joked about Carrington's infamous eye poke on Instagram Live, with Smith playfully poking Carrington's eye while they both cackled, openly mocking the very real concerns and questions that followed the Clark incident. This kind of behavior isn't just unprofessional, it's a blatant slap in the face to every player Carrington has injured.
Dirtbag Djonai. She has been on a crime spree. That's right, folks. She has been on a crime spree, robbing the WNBA blind, masquerading as a professional basketball player, when in reality, she is just a reckless athlete that understands the concept of basketball. A reckless athlete that understands the concept.
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, who constantly touts her grand plans for league growth and attracting new fans, has remained bizarrely silent while one of her star players systematically puts others in harm's way. The WNBA's pathetic response to Carrington's dangerous pattern has been virtually non-existent. No suspension for the Clark eye poke, no meaningful punishment for the Shepard incident, and zero action taken after the horrifying hair-pulling assault on Barker. It's like the WNBA's disciplinary committee is just a magic 8-ball that someone shakes whenever they need to pretend to make a decision about player conduct. This isn't merely disappointing, it's flat-out dangerous. Every single game Carrington plays without facing real consequences is another horrifying opportunity for her to seriously injure someone. The league is essentially sending a chilling message to every player. As long as you're talented enough, you can get away with conduct that would land you in jail outside of an arena. This inaction isn't just a safety issue, it's a competitive imbalance that threatens the very integrity of the sport. When one team has a player willing to cross lines others wouldn't dare, it forces opponents into impossible choices: play their normal game and risk a career-ending injury, stoop to that same level of physicality and potentially get hurt themselves, or waste valuable mental energy fretting about safety instead of focusing on the actual basketball.
Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner, Adam Silver, the NBA's commissioner, they need to continue to have pressure put on them, the league as a whole, until they decide to do something. Like, look, when I see a $100,000 fine come out, and I understand what their salaries are, I don't care. Till I see something like that, till I see what really ought to be like a 10-game suspension or something like that. There should be something significant that is going to send a message saying that there is no longer going to be this tolerance for this kind of dirty play. And
the Dallas Wings organization deserves a special level of condemnation for actively cultivating this toxic environment in the first place. When they signed DJ Carrington, they knew exactly what they were getting. This wasn't some naive hope that a player would miraculously shed bad habits. This was a calculated, deliberate decision to bring in someone with a thoroughly documented history of dangerous, reckless play. What were they thinking? Did they truly believe Carrington's pattern of outright violence would magically vanish the moment she put on a different jersey? That her history of targeting high-profile players was just a phase she'd simply grow out of? Their decision to sign her wasn't just questionable, it was downright irresponsible, bordering on criminal negligence. Now they have Paige Becker, one of the most exciting rookies to grace the WNBA in years, sharing a locker room with a player whose idea of basketball seems ripped straight from a combat sport. Becker arrived in the league with a pedigree that had fans dreaming of championship runs and shattered records. Instead, she's tragically discovered that her biggest threat might not even come from an opposing team. The Wings have essentially told their entire roster that winning games is more important than fundamental player safety, and that twisted philosophy is on a collision course to backfire spectacularly. If Carrington injures another teammate or opponent, this organization will have some serious explaining to do about why they saw this coming and chose to enable it. Let's be clear about the devastating personal cost of this situation for someone who should be singularly focused on developing her game and adapting to the pro level. Instead of celebrating her phenomenal start, 14.7 points, 6.7 assists, and 4.7 rebounds per game through her first 6 contests, Becker is probably agonizing over whether her next practice session will result in yet another debilitating concussion. She entered the WNBA with the kind of transformative talent that builds entire franchises. She even single-handedly led the Wings to their only win of the season with a dominant 21-point, 7-assist performance against Connecticut. She became the fastest player in over a decade to reach 40 career assists and was drawing comparisons to league legends. But all of that immense potential means absolutely nothing if she ends up as just another tragic casualty of Carrington's reckless, violent approach to the game. The most frustrating part of this entire ordeal is that Becker likely imagined she was entering a professional environment dedicated to basketball excellence. Instead, she finds herself trapped in a nightmare where her own teammate poses just as much, if not more, of a threat than any opponent. The psychological toll of playing alongside someone with Carrington's documented history simply cannot be overstated. Every single practice, every game situation, every close play becomes a horrifying, ever-present threat to her health and her burgeoning career.
You know, everybody's waiting now. All eyes on the commissioner. What's the punishment going to be? Is there going to be a punishment? Guys, if Caitlin Clark started dishing out fouls like this, Al Sharpton would be walking the streets. They would claim that Caitlin Clark literally had pitchforks and was wearing white sheets on the court. If this was happening and Caitlin Clark was dishing out these kind of fouls. All right, and do we even want to call them fouls? I mean, look, they're worse than fouls.
Commissioner Engelbert needs to unleash immediate, decisive disciplinary action against Carrington, regardless of when or where her dangerous conduct occurred. While a retroactive suspension might seem unconventional, extraordinary circumstances demand extraordinary measures. When a player's conduct directly threatens the safety of others and undermines the very integrity of the sport, the league has an absolute obligation to act, even if they initially failed. Carrington should face a rock-solid minimum 10-game suspension for her documented pattern of dangerous play, with escalating penalties for any future incidents. Dangerous plays like deliberate eye pokes, blatant hair pulling, and any attempts to injure opponents should trigger automatic suspensions, with rapidly escalating penalties for repeat offenders. Most importantly, the league needs to finally send a crystal clear message. Talent does not and will never excuse dangerous, violent behavior. For Paige Becker, the solution might need to be even more drastic. She should seriously, and I mean seriously, consider demanding a trade to a escape this utterly toxic environment. No rookie, especially one with her transcendent potential, should ever have to worry about being injured by her own teammate. The Dallas Wings created this colossal problem by signing Carrington. Now they need to fix it by making an agonizing choice between their franchise player and their undeniable liability.
That said, Paige Beckers has been cleared. She officially will be available to play tomorrow after missing 4 games. She was out for concussion protocol and then she was sick. She had an illness. So she is back. She's good to go. But this does beg the question, what are they going to do with Ty Harris? Because that's a loss and they need help. They need help. And the power of friendship isn't going to fix this one.
DJ Carrington's continued presence in the WNBA without any meaningful consequences represents everything that is fundamentally broken with the league's approach to player discipline and safety. From her infamous eye poke attack on Caitlin Clark to the very real, ongoing threat she poses to her own teammates like Paige Becker, Carrington has repeatedly, brazenly demonstrated that she is more than willing to cross lines that should never, ever be breached in professional basketball. The WNBA stands at a pivotal crossroads right now. They can continue to bury their heads in the sand, hoping this problem magically disappears, allowing more promising careers to be tragically derailed by completely preventable injuries, or they can finally take decisive, meaningful action to protect their players and safeguard the integrity of their sport. The choice they make will determine